everybody. Thank you for joining me again. Nice to see you all. I hope you're liking it, hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, hitting the notifications button, doing all the things that you need to do to support a YouTube channel. I know you are. Yeah, nice to have you back here again. We're going to be looking at another three. No, we're not. We're going to be looking at another four of the small manufacturers' websites today. Today we're looking at some that have got a few fancy miniatures kind of hidden away somewhere in the web. so I'll help you track them down and show you where to find them, and then you can have a proper look at them in your own time. Let's have a look.
Here we go then, four more manufacturers to look at today. The first one we're going to look at is Black Scorpion Miniatures. Now these are unfortunately not metal, they are resin, but I'm going to include them because they're still hand sculpted and they're really gorgeous. I mean, they would make lovely metal figures, but they're really gorgeous in resin. And for people who like those kinds of things, we can all appreciate the hand sculpted qualities that there are here. Just some really gorgeous work, lovely sculpting going on here, and the resin captures it really nicely. So they won't have the weight of a metal figure, but put a washer in their base or put some lead shot in their base and just enjoy. What we're going to mostly be looking at here is the Brennan Moore range. This seems to be their kind of fantasy medieval setting, and can't you just imagine these figures gracing a town, or gracing as officers of an army, members of the watch, perhaps more as on a role play skirmish kind of basis, but definitely some workable fantasy figures going on here. Now I was having a quick look because on this page it's giving me the value in euros. On the home page it's giving me the value in pounds, but as you can see, for resin figures, which tend to be a bit more expensive, below a fiver for a resin figure, and here a set of four for what works out £10, £2.50 each. You can't complain at those prices, can you really? Very, very good. We've got here a king on a toad. What's not to love? I can imagine him being converted into some kind of Nurgly noble wizard with a giant swirly crystal ball and a nice owl on his back there. Lovely dynamism in these models here. Halfling dodo rider. Yeah, great, good. Love it. Lovely dwarf knight. Some really, really tasty stuff in here. Yeah, lovely, really tasty. But this is not the only thing that Black Scorpion have, which might be useful to us. Tombstone is their kind of Wild Westy stuff, so people who like Wild Westy stuff. We've got Cutlass, the pirate range, of course, and again, you'll know that I'm doing pirates at the moment, so some of these may feature. They're a bit more serious piratey though than some of he says that looking at some of them, but yeah, they haven't quite got the kind of cartoon pirate look that quite a few of the ranges tend to have. These are a bit more sort of serious piratical types, nonetheless very lovely, and I can imagine them working quite nicely in Freebooter's Fate alongside the Werner Clock sculpts. And then we've got some harder to find types here. I think what they mean is that these types of figures are hard to find, as in it's hard to find a fantasy chef, for example. Maybe. I'm not so sure it's hard to find a plague doctor. They seem to be everywhere, and not just since the pandemic, for the last while anyway, but nevertheless they are here. But yeah, there's some seems to be where they put their oddments, like this duck with a saw, duck with a machine gun, in fact. SAW, semi-automatic weapon. Lovely Minotaur. He'd make a good Blood Bowl Minotaur, I reckon. Looks like he's head down about to charge. Nice treeman. And really lovely fairy there with great big wings. Very nice. Very, very nice. So there we go. Black Scorpion. Have a hunt around. Some lovely stuff on their website. Now we come to Winterpig. Winterpig I became aware of last year when Mike, who runs Broadsword Miniatures, asked if I could have a chat with them because he wanted to buy some figures from them, but they were not getting back to him. So I tried to contact them and I didn't get a response either. And then a couple of months ago, both of us got responses and both of us got duplicate sets of figures. But never mind, we did get the figures. So and they're nice. 28mm is what I'm going to be looking at here. The Khyber Chiefs are obviously inspired by a particular film, which most Brits of a certain age will recognise. Don't need to say very much more than that. Try and go back to the miscellaneous category, which is where we find our fantasy things. Now, there are not loads of these. Herne the Hunter is what Mike really wanted, surprise, surprise, for his Robin of Sherwood stuff. So we've each now got one of these, and it's a nice figure. It's a bit lumpy, as you gather from that photo, but it's quite nice. Their Anthro cats are lovely sculpts. Photos of the actual sculpts here. Not the castings, but judging by the sculpts, really lovely. Again, for £3. If you're looking for something for burrows and badgers, or any other Anthro setting, they look good to me. And then there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't have pictures. So I picked up this orc with halberd just on the off chance to see what it looked like, because at £3 I thought, well, I'll give that a try. And he's all right. He kind of fits in with the alternative armies orcs. He's got that sort of prominent jaw, prominent fangs. Might work all right with the older Citadel orcs, not so much the 4th, 5th, and certainly not the 6th ed onwards. But then who would want anything to fit in with the 6th ed onwards orcs? So it's a shame that they don't have pictures of those. But they might sell some if they have pictures, or they might sell some if they got back in touch. As I say, this has been it's been difficult to get in touch with them, but you may have more luck now. I gather that there have been some health issues and some website issues which are now resolved. While I'm having a look through here, let's have a look at what's in their other scales. Not a lot. Okay, so it does look like they're still having some issues with their website. Some 6mm fantasy. So, should that be your thing? There's some 6mm fantasy stuff here. Peruse through that. But yeah, they do seem to be suffering from some broken links. So you may have to ask if you want any more details. Right, we'll move on to Meridian Miniatures. Now, they had recently this very popular Kickstarter for some Kev Adams sculpted orc space pirates. Very classic style for 40k orcs there. Nice lot of freebooters. Did deservedly well. I do want to pick up this goblin by himself if he becomes available later on, because I think he would be great for my pirates. I have got some pirate goblins. But we are here to look at the fantasy stuff. So let us have a look and try and find some fantasy things. What happens if I click on miniature models? No, nothing very much. So let's have a look down here and see what we can find. Here are some zombie type characters who may be useful to a Mordine warband. Lots of ghosty ghouly stuff. He's quite fun. Again, I can imagine him stalking around the city of the damned. Black Crab Necropolis Nobles. The bear with a trumpet, he's great. Yeah, some really lovely sculpting in here. Not the cheapest. Not the cheapest at £20 for 3, certainly. But then this is 11 metal castings for £25. So something else I may have to get my hands on for my Carnival of Chaos. That's a pretty tasty selection of weirdling types at a good price. They've got the Anapolansk, if that's how you say it, folk horrors, although these are sold out, but I guess they'll be recasting them at some point. So you can get on the waiting list if you missed out on these from their Kickstarter. So this all does seem to be, that mostly you'll get these miniatures from the Kickstarter. You can pledge in late for stuff that hasn't been put into production yet. You can buy some that have been put into production and they still have some left over, and you can put your name on a waiting list for some where the molds exist, but you may not get them immediately. You may have to wait for them. I don't know what that waiting list is like, but anyway, some lovely stuff on this website. And the last one we're going to look at today is Perfect Six Scenics. Now, although they have got some scenic stuff here, it says it's the home of 6mm and the 28mm fantasy miniatures, or miniatures. We're going to be looking at, of course, the 28mm stuff. So if we go to the shop, does it give us an option? It does. 28mm fantasy miniatures is what we want. So I recognise this chap. This 32mm Barbarian was part of a Kickstarter I was involved in a while ago, and there's some nice witch huntery type characters here. Again, good Mordheim stock here. The Dark Fae. Oh yeah, there we go. 12 fairies there, 10 to 13mm high. You wouldn't want to mess with these fairies. They look like vicious fairies. But 12 fairies for £7 now. Good value. Good value, and these individual figures between £3 and £5 each, so pretty good going. Can't really complain at that price, can you? £3.50 for some nicely sculpted metal miniatures, and they have a cave troll. Of course they have a cave troll and a skeleton warrior. So not loads again in here, but a few nice things. We go into sale and clearance. Is this going to be mostly tanks? Yes, mostly tanks, nothing new in there. If I click on here, is this, again, this is stuff we've seen. Yes, it's just filtering it a bit. And if I go into STL files, for those who have 3D printers who are interested in 3D printing, there's a few scenic bits and pieces here. Most of their scenic stuff is in the 6mm smaller range. So there we go. 4 manufacturers with little bits of fantasy, but little bits of very nice fantasy, I think you'll agree. So check those guys out, give them some business, and I shall see you next time for some more nice manufacturers.